Good evening and welcome to the 553rd meeting of the City of Laurel Planning Commission. If you wish to be heard at this meeting, please sign the speaker list provided on the table at the side of the council chamber, and the chairman reserves the right to limit the amount of time each speaker has for each agenda. Before I ask for the roll call, I would like to acknowledge and thank everyone that came out to vote for our city council election. I'd also like to congratulate Councilman Fred Smalls on his re-election. I'd like to thank Donna Crary and Councilman Ed Ricks for their support of the Planning Commission, and I welcome Councilman Charles DeWalt and Keith Sidnor, and look forward to meeting them and working with them as we go about our business on the Planning Commission. I would also like to thank two of our commissioners on the Planning Commission that do double duty, although that's a lot more than double duty. And the chairman of the Board of Elections is John Kish, who is not here this evening. And a chief judge of Ward 1 is Bill Welford. And I'd like to thank you both for what you do, not only on this commission, but on the election committee also. Thank you. And with that, the roll call, please. Ms. Quillen.
Councilman Smalls?
Here.
Ms. Parker? Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Welford?
Here.
Vice Chairman Kish? Chairwoman Bettman?
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, approval of the minutes from the October 17, 2017 meeting. We have received the minutes. Are there any questions for staff?
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve the minutes from October 17th meeting.
I'll second.
Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Here. Yes,
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, the record plat for Spring Arbor Townhouses, 7003 Van Dusen Road, filed by BB Spring Arbor, LLC, resolution number 17-14-PC. This agenda item includes a public hearing on the application and the final action by the Planning Commission. Christian?
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and Commission members. Spring Arbor, the applicant is seeking final record plat of subdivision plan approval for Spring Arbor to subdivide land into 55 residential townhouse lots. The applicant recently obtained all required approvals for the development. Staff recommends that the City of Laurel Planning Commission approve the final record plat of subdivision for Spring Arbor with the following conditions. The approved plat shall be recorded with Prince George's County land records within 180 days of approval, and the applicant shall comply with all applicable laws, local, state, and federal laws and regulations in the development of the property. Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff?
Looks good.
Not here.
I do not have anyone currently signed up. I would like to open the public hearing on the Spring Arbor Townhouses, 7003 Van Dusen Road. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Hearing and seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on this application, and if there are no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I will move to approve the record plat for Spring Arbor Townhouses at 7003 Van Dusen Road. And I guess we do not have a second. So yeah, that's it.
The resolution, including the resolution.
Including the resolution.
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Quillen, the roll, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, special exception number 876, Laurel Manor House, 1110 Montgomery Street, filed by Lisa Everett. For recommendation to the Board of Appeals, this agenda item includes the public hearing on the application and the final action by the Planning Commission. Nathan?
Good evening, Commission members. The applicant is seeking special exception approval to operate a bed and breakfast facility to be located at 1110 Montgomery Street. The property is zoned R55, one family detached, and it's surrounded by a house of worship to the east, residential properties to the north and west, and a community park to the south. The house will have guest rooms, which will be located in the principal building on the property and will be available for customers for whom overnight accommodations and breakfast food service will only be provided. Each guest room will be available for a length of stay ranging from 1 night to no more than 2 weeks. The owners will reside in the principal building on the property with private third-floor rooms. Parking already exists on the property and is more than adequate to accommodate customers for the 3-guest bedroom and breakfast. In addition to the owner's 2-car garage, the property provides 4 designated parking spaces with no additional change to the current landscaper structure. The applicant is also seeking approval as part of their special exception to install a hanging sign with a 5-foot square area attached to a 4-foot tall post on their property near Montgomery Street. Staff recommend that the City of Laurel Planning Commission recommend approval of special exception application number 876 to the City of Laurel Board of Appeals with the conditions outlined in the technical staff report. Thank you.
And as clarification, I believe the only 3 recommendations were to obtain the proper approvals. The applicant shall obtain City of Laurel use and occupancy, is that correct?
Correct.
Historic District approval for their sign, and the applicant shall obtain a City of Laurel sign permit.
Correct.
Okay? Any questions for staff?
I do. Everyone?
Mr. Wilson?
I just want to refresh my memory on notification of adjacent property owners for a special exception.
We mail out notifications to all contiguous property owners about they are applying for a special exception, and then when the date is of the Planning Commission.
Did we get any questions at all?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, and the sign has been up in the front.
Yes.
Mr. Smalls, any questions?
I do have a question, but it's for the applicant.
Okay. I'd like to invite Lisa Everett. If you would state your name and your address, please. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Lisa Everett, and I live at 1110 Montgomery Street. As you see in the picture, I'm here with my husband, Dave, and we've lived in the house since 2012. And when we first bought the house in 2011, the realtor representing the seller told us the city was interested in the house becoming a bed and breakfast, and I hope that's still true.
Mr. Smalls?
I think it's a beautiful property. I've been on it a couple of times in the past, just sort of nosing around. So it's a beautiful property. But my question has, and it's a softball question, breakfast service. Is actual cooking going to take place for breakfast, or how do you plan on providing breakfast service?
That is my hope. I've received a phone call from the Prince George's County Health Department.
Okay.
And I don't know if there are any other bed and breakfasts in Prince George's County. So they're trying to figure out how to regulate me. I told her that I've met with an innkeeper in Howard County, and he does not have a commercial kitchen. He has 6 rooms. I have 3 bedrooms for guests. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the woman from Prince George's County Health Department. I last spoke to her before last week, and she said the state representative would be in the office and she would talk to her. I need to follow up, find out what she's discovered. I don't know if there's legislation that there are special categories for food service, which I would fall under. But yes, I do hope to cook breakfast. Not catering, not a restaurant, just breakfast for the 3-room guests.
Okay. So you're awaiting some determination from the county sort of before you can really proceed, I would presume.
She said I could serve a continental breakfast, which would not require licensing, but I would like to be able to cook a breakfast.
Of course, yeah. Okay, all right. I can't imagine, maybe I'll point to staff, that this, while she's waiting for some consideration, I don't know what's going on with it, while she's waiting for some determination from the county, that would hold up any progress that she's making on this application. Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, I just, well, first of all, I'm very much in favor of this, and good luck. It's a beautiful property, and I'm glad that you're able to at least attempt to do this. I would encourage, and I don't know if the city can help with this, but I've heard this story once before about these kinds of places, and I think we're probably in need of some county legislation. So that might be something that we could bring up with Mary Lehman, or in the future. I don't know if you've had any discussions with her.
Not yet.
It would
But-
probably be useful to call her office and just let her know, just let her staff know that you're thinking about this, and that's what you've heard from county government.
Right.
And then, if there's a gap, then sometimes, I don't know if it's right to, it's one of those, do I beg for forgiveness or ask for permission? But it could cause you more grief in the long run. I don't know, but.
Well, I would certainly take the Serve Safe class for safe food handler certification.
Yeah, the heartburn will be on what requirements they're going to put on the kitchen, right? Because that's where the money is.
So I would also like to talk to innkeepers in Annapolis. Anne Arundel County has bed and breakfast. Howard County has bed and breakfast. Baltimore does. But I'm not sure that Prince George's County does.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Surrattsville, I thought down around Surratt's house and
I
all of
don't know.
that. Yeah,
They might
that's
be operating
interesting.
without, they got grandfathered in. My wife and I have stayed in bed and breakfasts all over the country, and I can't remember what I would consider a commercial kitchen, for.
Or a continental breakfast with individually wrapped muffins.
That I have done. I was just going, when you mentioned that, I was thinking, in the city of Philadelphia, I was never so surprised. My husband and I stayed at a bed and breakfast, and when we went for breakfast, everything was individually wrapped, and I thought, I've never been to something like this, but I guess whatever their regulation was did not permit them to cook, so.
Stayed in lots of Pennsylvania inns.
Wow. I hope that you were able to.
With a fully cooked breakfast.
I hope, yes, and we have two up at Antietam. Ms. Quillen, would you please note for the record that, thank you very much.
Late.
That's okay.
Apologies.
Welcome. We're on the Laurel Manor House special exception for the bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just sort of, not so much for the applicant at this point, but for staff, this sounds like it could be, if we're establishing a trend here in the city with bed and breakfasts, that maybe we look at certain, an ordinance that would allow certain uses, depending on, of course, how the county responds also. But it may be something that, I know it's an allowed use, but I haven't read anything or seen anything that specifically addresses bed and breakfasts particularly. That would sort of help any applicant in the future know what he or she can and can't do and what's required as far as the city is concerned. So if we would monitor, what comes out of the county with this particular application with Ms. Everett, then we can kind of see.
Okay, staff noted, and we will do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, the other thing is, we're thinking our way through that is, in this property, there's plenty of parking. But I think one of the big challenges,
Right.
especially like if somebody wanted to put one on Main Street, would be able to park it. So, we've been pretty,
Right
I
at
think,
the other
good
end of
about
Montgomery
giving
Street.
waivers in certain parts of town. But, something we'll have to think our way through. 3 or 4 guests is not going to be a problem, and certainly not on your property. You can accommodate that easily, but.
And the sign that you are looking to put, not street side, but by the small steps coming down by the tree?
Yes. So actually, we had two thoughts. One is right there by the tree, by the steps. The problem with that would be the tree would
That's what I
maybe
was thinking.
block the view of the sign for eastbound traffic. The other spot would be in front of the boxwood bushes there.
The property line runs at the top of the hill.
At the top of the hill. Okay.
Right.
Nathan, I would just like to make sure that if in our motion we accept the staff report and approve this for procedure, can you include in there the possibility that the sign would be along the property line so that if they decide it's not going to be right where that arrow is, as long as the commissioners are okay, they would not have to come back again for
Yes.
approval to move that sign somewhere else?
We can do that.
Thank you. There are no other questions? I will entertain a motion. Thank you, Lisa.
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve the special exception number 876 for Laurel Manor House, 1110 Montgomery Street, filed by Lisa Everett for recommendation to the Board of Appeals, and for that to also include the final action by the Planning Commission.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Quillen, before I ask for the roll call, if I could please, I did not officially, I'd like to open the public hearing on this. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this agenda item? Hearing and seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on the application. We do have a motion with a second. Ms. Quillen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes?
Chairwoman Bettman? Mr. Winnicott?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
You have a quorum. Oh, motion carries, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Sorry, I messed you up. Thank you very much. Best of luck.
Good luck to you.
Agenda item 5, the amended site and landscape plan for 9007 Marshall Avenue, filed by SAIA Motor Freight Resolution Number 17-11-PC, including the public hearing on this application and final action by the Planning Commission.
Good evening again. The applicant, SAIA Motor Freight, is seeking amended site and landscape plan approval to modify the site known as 9007 Marshall Avenue. The property is zoned industrial general. The proposed renovations to the site include an addition of 3,850 square feet for an office, a new fence, an above-ground fuel tank, repaving of the parking lot, and added landscaping. Since the last Planning Commission meeting held on October 17, 2017, the applicant has amended the site plan to include more enhanced on-site landscape, which includes increased green area in the upper left corner of the property, increased plantings along the border of the property, naturalized planting pattern along staggers in the rear edge of the property to soften the edges, additional green islands in the parking area, a widened buffer between employee lot and building addition, and a realignment of the sidewalk to match the entrance location. Also, increased planning are to be located within the employee parking lot, and also an addition of a natural drainage swell along Staggers Road at the edge of the parking field, conveying water to a new rain garden basin added in the green area of the upper right corner. The planning plan will also increase the shade over Bear Creek and improve the quality of the stream. Increased plantings of green areas around the new building will also be presented. The new plan is proposed to have over 417 types of trees and shrubs to the property. Furthermore, the concerns regarding the stormwater management were raised at the previous meeting. The applicant has addressed those issues by doing the following modifications to the site if approved. Pick up the pipe that currently outfalls on Staggers Road in the upper left corner of the property and convey that water under the site. The modification would correct an existing drainage and standing water problem that currently exists on Staggers Road. The site was almost totally impervious. However, with the new plan, it will provide a net over 25 pervious surface to the site with the addition of innovative and attractive swells and rain gardens. According to section 20-35.1 of the code, stormwater plans are reviewed and approved by Prince George's County. However, approved plans must be submitted to the City of Laurel. Staff recommends that the City of Laurel Planning Commission approve amended site and landscape plan application for 9007 Marshall Avenue with the conditions that were outlined in the technical staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Thank you to both the applicants and staff for going back at this.
Yeah,
Questions, Mr. Wilson?
And I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. But no, after you.
I just wanted to thank you guys. I think it's a much better plan. I know it was a little bit of a hassle, and I want to thank the staff for working through this. We're not where you'd like to be, but with the given, the fact that this is an existing property, I think the applicant has done a really, really good job here and moved it along. So I am very supportive of it. Thanks again.
And I just wanted to ask the staff, do you think that the applicant has met preponderance of the issues that the commission raised?
Absolutely. I think the applicant went above and beyond, and they worked really diligently with me to make those happen.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have one question for staff. This property has seen several proposals for development over the years, so I'm really glad to see it's sort of coming full circle. It's coming back to what it originally, well, I won't say originally, but at least in my past 15 years or so around, back to what it was. But my question for staff is regarding Staggers Road. As you know, Staggers, there's restricted or no parking on Staggers now. Is there any plans to request that those parking restrictions be lifted, particularly? Well, I certainly wouldn't want to see any large vehicles parked on Staggers, but based on what the proposed use is going to be, any consideration to request some kind of modifications to the parking restrictions?
As of right now, no. Staff does know there are some parking concerns over in that area, and internally we're working on trying to make the parking or the restrictions of parking a little bit better. But as of right now, no.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to open the public hearing on the amended site and landscape plan 9007 Marshall Avenue. I do have one person signed up. Mr. Shipp, did you want to speak?
Thank
Welcome.
you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission, Council. Bill Shipp with O'Malley Miles here today. We really just want to thank Christian for her help in stewarding us through this, and we think we've worked together to come back with an improved plan. I do want to say that our proposal contains all the parking within the site. We do not need staggers for parking, and we will not be parking trucks there. If you ever hear that, let us know. Also, I don't want to gloss over the fact that one of the big things that this proposal is doing is picking up that pipe that right now is falls right on the Staggers Road. I think it's a problem, especially, must be in the winter time, really a problem. So we will be correcting that problem. Christian did a really good job of walking you around some of the improvements, but we think we were able to balance, working with a site that needs a lot of movement area for trucks to turn around with adding green space in a way that I think is pretty innovative. Increase buffers, add some rain gardens, and all that good stuff. So if there's any questions, we're here, but we really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Shipp? Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And if there are no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I will move to recommend approval of the amended site plan, landscape plan for 9007 Marshall Avenue with the, including the technical staff report.
Second.
Ms. Quillen, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Welford?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bettman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And best of luck. There is no other business before the commission. I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.